sweet souls, and welcome back to my channel, Mythic Rose Tarot. I'm really happy you're joining me today for another Pick-A-Card Tarot and Oracle card video. Today's topic I think is very exciting. It's going to be, what are your spiritual abilities? Now, this could be ones that your soul came into this lifetime with, or ones that you're cultivating through your experiences in this lifetime. So it could be either. Now, always remember, these are general readings, and so even if you pick a pile that is for you, not necessarily will every message in the pile be for you. So if part of it is resonating, then that just means that's the part that you were meant to hear. Because as a reminder, my readings are not meant to replace your own inner judgment. They're only meant to affirm what you already know. So if something's resonating, let it affirm what you are already aware of deep down, what spirit wants to highlight for you, what wants to come to the surface. And if it's not resonating, don't worry about it. Just feel free to leave it behind, okay? You have to trust your intuition and develop your intuition. Also a reminder, as always, I'm an intuitive reader, not any sort of licensed therapist, counselor, or doctor, or lawyer, or financial advisor, or anything like that. I'm not acting in that capacity right now. This is a pick-a-card video that's meant to be for entertainment, for spiritual development, so please keep that in mind as well. I've had a couple comments asking like where I get information from, and I want to say it comes through the cards. For me, I always say a prayer at the beginning of every video before shooting for like my highest self, the highest self of everybody who's going to be tuning in, the spiritual team of everybody who's tuning in, as well as myself, to come forward. So that's how, before I shuffle the cards, that is the energy that I invite in. Otherwise, it's just through my own intuition, okay? I'm an intuitive reader. So I hope that answers the question that I've had a couple times now is, where am I getting things from? As well as just from the cards themselves that come through, okay? For me, I also take messages if I hear something, if something appears in my mind as I'm reading, okay? So I hope that clears it up too. Okay, let's not delay any further. I really want to get into the reading. So today, this is group number 1. This is group number 2, and this is group number 3. Now, I also had pre-shuffled one more guiding card to help you pick. So this is also your pile for if you have picked the White Witch or Eos. For pile 2, you may have been drawn to the Guardian Angel card or Sedna, okay? For pile number 3, you may be drawn to the Shaman card or to Morrigan. All right, and I'm going to give you a close-up of all of these piles for about a minute. I will do that, and I want you to pick with your intuition, okay? Not with your eyes, maybe not with your logical mind about how you wish you would be, but pick with the one that you feel drawn to the most, all right? Take the next about 2 minutes, actually, as I go through and show all the piles, to really meditate on which one appeals to you the most, okay? Okay, without further delay, this is pile 1, and this is your pile if you're drawn to the it's kind of a silver gray, really beautiful agate stone, okay? A point. Beautiful stone. If you're drawn to the goddess Eos, or if you were drawn to the White Witch card. Okay. Pile number 2, if you were drawn to the Caldecini, I believe is how that's pronounced. My apologies if it's not Chaldecami, but it's a fairy ring circle. A very subtle glimmer, very beautiful. If you were drawn to Sedna, or if you're drawn to this Guardian Angel card, this is pile 2. And then for pile number 3, you may be drawn to this garnet stone, okay? It's a very kind of a pale garnet. you may be drawn to Morrigan. Or the Shaman card. Okay, I'm going to give you about a minute to meditate on the energy of each pile. Timestamps will be in the description box below, and I'll see you in the reading. Hello, pile number one, and welcome to your reading. It's really exciting that you're joining me today for this topic. I think it's an exciting one. It's what are your spiritual abilities? So what I've done is pre-shuffled, as always, some oracle cards. I have also, I'll tell you what I did. I wrote down a list of pretty much all the spiritual abilities that came to mind for me. So there's about 150, and I've pulled 15, I put them all together in a bag, and I've pulled 15 for you. So I'm just gonna plop those there, okay? So we'll go through them together. I've just pulled them. So this could also be kind of a list of spiritual abilities you might have as well. Okay, put them off here. So let's explore the cards first, and then we'll read the ones that I've pulled for you randomly. Okay, so you have the White Witch. You have Eos. Put her over here. So this is the Greek goddess who really brings the light, okay? She breaks dawn. Her siblings would be Helios and also Selene, but she is the one who breaks dawn and is the goddess of like dew, morning light, and transitioning, right, from that time of darkness into the day. We have the White Witch. We have, ooh, I love this. We have Odysseus or Odysseus. My apologies. I do not always know how to pronounce them, so do correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go with Odysseus. Okay, so you might know this hero from, you know, the Iliad and the Odyssey, but basically if you know about the Trojan War, he was the one who came up with that idea to infiltrate opposing army using a gift horse, okay? So he's very cunning, and he goes on an incredible journey. If you've ever read the Iliad or the Odyssey books, you would know about that journey. So an incredible journey home after the war. Ooh, we have Wise One. We have Shield Maiden. We have Magical Child with the attribute Magical. We have Companion. Oh, I love that. We have Neptune, and we have Plum Blossom. Fortitude and Perseverance. Okay. Ooh, there's so many messages already coming through. All right. Maybe what I'll do, I'm going to put these ones over here for now. And let's see what we have here. So some of what I pulled for you could be spiritual abilities of intuitive cooking or alchemy with food. Okay. Mystical union with nature, like I was thinking trees, rivers, mountains. Okay, so, you know, you could be somebody who can speak with trees or the spirits of nature. You can hear them. You can feel very drawn to them. Psychometry, so reading objects, okay. Healing through dance. Creative visioning. With Neptune here, I feel the creative visioning, but a lot of artistic gifts coming through here too, okay? So we have scrying, mirror crystal gazing. We have wisdom sharing. Sacred space creation. Rune casting. Dream-inspired creativity. Breathwork facilitation. Healing touch. Joy radiating, joy radiance. I'm seeing a lot of overlap with the cards that were pulled already. Wow. Automatic writing. Like I said, I think there is a lot of creative energy in this pile. And aura reading. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Okay. So lots of gifts here. Okay, now we can spread these out a little bit. So let's kind of tuck them up here. I'm really feeling, I'm going to go through it methodically, kind of card by card and what's jumping out. There's a lot of categories of spiritual gifts you might be blessed with if this is your pile. So for sure, there is almost like a childlike magical energy, something that didn't come up in the polls that I had written down, but I think is here is also communication with like fairies. When I look at this child magical card, I feel like I see somebody who's creating this this liminal space. It's like when you're a child and you go somewhere and you play pretend. So imagine you're in this kind of, there's meadows here and mountains in the background. You've kind of created this space that it's not just meadows in the background, but it's like your own little world. And also just seeing the natural elements here, so mystical union with nature, I'm really feeling this connection here. You could see fairies, okay? I feel like you may have the ability to communicate with fairies, to communicate with nature spirits, to communicate with the elements. You have a very strong imagination, especially we have Neptune here, okay? A very strong imagination. I think that creative visioning, this dream-inspired creativity, this aura reading, this union with nature, healing through dance and arts. This is very Neptunian. I do feel you are very psychic. I think that you also can channel that psychic ability through the arts. So through dance, through, I would say also dreaming with Neptune. So like dreams, illusions is very in line with Neptune. You might be a Pisces. I'm also seeing, I'll tell you other energies as it goes through, but I'm feeling Pisces energy. I'm feeling also Gemini energy, okay? I'm feeling that energy of those who are represented by two things. So like the twins, two fish going in opposite directions. I'm kind of feeling some Libra energy too. And perhaps even Capricorn energy as well, I feel, and I also feel like Virgo with Shield Maiden. And I think Capricorn too, with the sea goat. Okay, so, the head of a goat, the body of a mermaid. Those are some energies coming through right now strongly. But yes, incredible, inspirational psychic ability. You might have prophetic dreams, I feel, or be able to kind of go into the dream space. I think there is liminality here. So some things I'm seeing that you might be drawn to, especially with light, right? Dawn is a liminal time between two other very solid times. Same with twilight, although I don't believe there is a god that represents twilight in the Greek pantheon. You might really like dawn and you might really like twilight. You might really like places that are the meeting places between two different places. So if you can see in this card, we have mountains and kind of like a prairie or like a meadow. So existing in a place where you can see multiple different kinds of terrain might be very appealing to you. If you're interested in human design, I think that could be like a shores archetype, okay? So this might be your pile if you really like things like if you have a house or an apartment and you have a balcony, you might really enjoy sitting on the balcony or in a sunroom, which is a room that's like part of a house, but not quite. It's kind of like partly outdoors, partly indoors. So you might also really enjoy greenhouses, nature, so liminal spaces, some things that you might enjoy. You might really enjoy folklore. I'm getting that feeling. So if you are someone who's very drawn to folklore, this could be your pile for sure. You might really like things like grafted trees, where it's a mishmash of nature and human kind of invention. So things like tree houses, I'm thinking that just came to mind. You might like grafted trees where like you could have like an apple tree, for example, and then a branch of a plum blossom, a branch of a cherry tree, and then maybe different kinds of apples. Like how humans can kind of influence and change nature. That would create kind of a liminal space, okay? You might really enjoy things like that. Neptunian energy, it's very difficult to pin down. So also I really feel you could be able to, I think you could be able to dream walk. I think you might be able to lucid dream. I think you might be able to have prophetic dreams too. Okay. Again, with the liminality I'm seeing, and the twos, right? I remember how I said I'm really feeling drawn to energy of like duality. So one or two, being alone in a field, but also having a friend. Like I'm thinking imaginary friend. When you were a kid, you may have had an imaginary friend. Again, with liminality, sorry, I know these messages, they're coming out very fast and scattered, but there's this energy of dualities. There's this energy of liminality, dreaming, childhood, arts, nature, the journey with, of course, a journey is liminal, okay? It is a place, you're going from one place to another. So the journey is kind of a liminal space. So I feel this liminality is very, very important for you. But you are not just somebody who's like lost in that. You are also someone who is like a light bringer for people, okay? Okay, I'm going to zone in. Let's zone in a little bit on, I would say, we've kind of talked about the child, all those magical spiritual abilities. Let's talk a little bit more about Odysseus and Eos. So I really feel like seeing these two appear. Let's talk about Odysseus first. Odysseus, he like had to find his way through so many trials, okay? And he met a lot of mystical kind of creatures along the way, and he had a lot of help, like I believe from Athena as he went through his journey. And he also lost a lot of comrades. Now, Odysseus is very cunning. Odysseus is, he could even be a trickster too. Like when he did finally get back to his kingdom, he didn't even like announce himself and walk in as king. He pretended to be like an old man to kind of see how people would treat him, like how his kingdom had held up in the time he was gone. And Penelope, to his wife, he kind of tried to test to, was she a loyal wife? Anyway, so there's this kind of trickster energy, which is also why I said Gemini earlier. You might have a spirit guide of a coyote or some trickster energies, or even maybe some ravens too, or anything like that. That could be confirmation this pals for you too. But there is a lot of light energy here, okay? Anyway, so with Odysseus, I feel like wayfinding. You might be able to like help spirits find their way. You might have a very good sense of direction. So even though we've got this Neptunian energy and this child energy where you feel like maybe as a kid you're lost a lot, you can find your way and navigate your way, especially I think for, you can be a point of connection perhaps for spirits or like nature spirits, or, even spirits on the other side. So you can be kind of like a connection point. Again, that liminality, okay? You can be like a point between two worlds. I think wayfinding, I think this is an epic poem, right? An epic story. So I think maybe, and with this Neptune energy and automatic writing, creative visioning, I feel that you could absolutely be, you could really be like a story weaver. Okay, so like doing story weaving magic, I would say, like shaping perception of the world through your words with the writing, creative visioning, wisdom sharing, and creating this sacred space that's your own through storytelling, through making pretend. You could also be an actor, so you could create sacred space through the energy you create around you, through acting or other artistic pursuits. I feel like, again, I said there is a trickster kind of intelligence here too. So you might be somebody that's very good at arguing with people, or getting them to see some greater truth through perhaps playing little like practical jokes or things like this. Okay, again, this trickster energy is coming through quite strongly, especially because fairies, like I said, you might be able to communicate with fairies. Fairies can often be a very trickster energy, okay? But you're able to navigate that well and maybe even play that role for other people. So I feel there could be like trickster energy, trickster intelligence. Yeah, for sure. What else? I think I'm feeling the dream and liminal traveling, I think, is very important here, especially if you see the scrying, mirror, crystal gazing, Neptunian energy. I can't remember if Odysseus had any prophetic dreams. I think he might have. You know what? I can't say for sure, though. I'd have to go reread. Or Google it or something. But I do feel very strongly the dreaming energy here, the access to the dream world, to the collective unconscious. You might really like archetypes. You might really like not just art, but also psychology. Yeah. Maybe even glamour magic, especially I'm feeling with this fairy energy here. You might be able to do like glamour magic. You might be able to like have masking energy or disguising power, subverting. Especially like I said, Odysseus dressed up as like an old man so that he could see how people would treat him, and to achieve a different agenda when he arrived. So that's very trickster. That's very mask and disguise energy as well. I think persuasion. I think especially with this automatic writing, we have this Neptunian kind of speaking ability. I feel like you could be very persuasive with your wisdom. So I think you know how to speak well. For sure. And I think too, um, he was very guided, I feel, on this journey by the gods. And so I actually feel too with this child magical, like I said, you might have had like an imaginary friend. I feel you're very connected to the spiritual realm. I feel you're very connected to your guides. I feel you have a lot of angels around you and spiritual, like a very strong spiritual team guiding you. And I think you have a very strong conscious, you are not somebody, even though there's this trickster energy, you are somebody with a lot of integrity. Um, at your core, you are somebody with a lot of integrity. I think too, it can't be understated as well with the wisdom. I do feel that you are somebody who you're very strategic, okay? Like I said, Odysseus came up with the gift horse, the Trojan horse, where he hid like members of his own army in the horse, gave it to the opposing army, and then they infiltrated the army that way and were able to win through an element of surprise, a surprise attack. So that's very cunning. So a spiritual gift that you have might actually be incredible strategic thinking as well. Okay. Um, Maybe you can read patterns. Yeah. Okay, so those are some of what's coming through with Odysseus. We've talked about the child. Let's talk about Eos. So this is another this I feel like is very much with the aura reading, with creating sacred space, again with liminality. I really feel with this Eos energy, it's a very kind of like light bringing energy. You might be somebody who, when you compliment people, I don't know why I'm hearing this, but when you compliment people, they really light up, and they might even cry, okay? Like I'm thinking of like teardrops turning into dewdrops. I just had an image in my mind. So you might be somebody who really brings positivity into other people's lives the same way children do, right? And their kind of magical thinking. And the White Witch, it's like you have a spiritual ability to really bring delight to people. You're a really great friend. I think you make friends quite easily. And you make people feel very seen, okay? You make them light up. So I think you have this kind of renewal power. I think you can help. I think you're very encouraging, and you know the right words to say to help people want to go on, like in life. So when people speak to you, they feel better. They feel very motivated. And I also feel too, like you have a very, you're very empathetic, and you have an emotional intelligence that's very strong. Okay? You know what words to say. I feel too, you could be, I think, like I said, I think you really uplift others if they're ever in despair, and you're quite shielded though at the same time. You don't take on their um you don't take on their problems to yourself, but you help guide other people out of it. Same with like the wayfinding. You're very good at helping people navigate out of sadness, okay, and bringing light to the world. I hope that makes sense. I think, yeah, I think you could even be like a liminal gatekeeper with, like there's so much liminal energy here. So I think you feel a strong duty to protect like nature from people, for example. So you could be kind of like a gatekeeper, a guardian, especially with Shield Maiden, like somebody who does defend things you're passionate about. Or Odysseus is also, he's got a sword in this one, he's a warrior. So there is that energy of being able to protect what's important to you. I think you're very in touch with your inner child as well. I think you're a very optimistic person, and it sounds maybe silly, but I feel that that is a spiritual gift, your ability to be optimistic. You might have some Jupiter strong in your chart too, like Jupiter in the 1st house, 5th house, 10th house, maybe even the 11th house or 12th house, but like a strong Jupiter, or well aspected, like Jupiter conjunct Sun or something like that. I feel like you help people because she's bringing in change, right? The change from night to day. So I feel you might help people with change a lot too. And again, change is liminal because you're going from one thing to another, one job to another, one something to another, one house to another, one anything to another, okay? So you are very helpful when people are going through times of turmoil and change. And I think you help them with emotional renewal. Be the light, White Witch. You have very pure intentions. You're a very pure heart, a pure soul. I would even say it's like you're enthusiastic. Even if it's about your own world or your own story you're telling. But you can bring other people into your world. Like maybe when you dance, you're able to get other people to dance. Maybe even people want to hold your hand, like you have friends and you will hold hands or things like this. Because being around you is so healing. And you're very enthusiastic. Okay, I feel like that's what's coming through. That's a lot of spiritual abilities. So also maybe artistic pursuits like art as well, okay? Not just like the... not just with writing or things like that, but also actual art. There is an energy too here, though, with the journey, with Shield Maiden, with Wise One. You are also somebody who has a lot of perseverance and fortitude. So you don't give up easily. So you don't give up on people. It kind of feels like you don't walk away from conversations or people until you're sure that they're feeling better. So you have a strong focus. Whether it's focused on your own world or what you're doing, but when you're with somebody else, you have a very strong focus on them, and that's very appealing to other people. It's very healing to other people. It is a spiritual ability. Also with the rune casting, that could be something too you're very good at, especially with Shield Maiden. Perhaps you're very interested in the Nordic gods or Nordic kind of culture, and the runes are a strong way for you to engage with your spiritual abilities, okay, or your spirit to come through you. You might be able to interpret runes very easily, or anything like that. Okay, I think that's what's coming through, pile number 1. That was so many spiritual gifts. You have a very beautiful energy, I'll say. It's like, the first sunlight on the grass, highlighting and twinkling all the dew, or sunlight hitting the snow on the ground, right? And it's very sparkly. It's like you have a sparkly energy, like magical. You have I can see that you have a very beautiful smile, like a grin, and like a glint in your eye, okay? Don't be scared. I know I said there's trickster energy. Don't be scared of that energy. That is very healing energy, and that is very spiritual energy that you're able to interact with as well. Okay, thank you, pile 1. Please let me know if this resonated in the comments below. I love to hear from you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. Today, we're looking at what are some of your spiritual abilities that you have come into this lifetime with or that you're developing now. So we're going to look at some pre-shuffled oracle cards, and something else that I did, a little bit different. I wrote down about 150 of the spiritual gifts I could think of, and then I cut them all up and then put them in a bag, and I drew 15 for you here. So we'll go through them together, but I've just put them here. Okay, and then my videos tend to be kind of long, so in the interest of time, I've pre-done everything. But yes, this is your pile if you picked Guardian Angel, Sedna, or if you are very drawn to this particular crystal, okay, the fairy ring. Okay, now, this is a lot of blue energy, so I definitely feel there could be a chance that you are a water sign. There could be the chance that you are very drawn to water. You could have a lack of water in your chart, or you could have an abundance of water in your chart, okay? But there's definitely something to do with water energy. I'm feeling like you might have like a spiritual, very spiritual connection with water. Water sources. Maybe you could even find water. What is it called? Dowsing? But maybe you can even find water easily, okay? Let's jump into it though. With Guardian Angel, I also feel like you are protected. You are a very protected person. Your angels are always close by. You might even be able to see angels or communicate with angels, okay? Especially archangels or any other angels. So that could be a spiritual gift that you have too if this is your pile. Now, similarly, you may be drawn to pile 1, okay? With the fairy ring here, this is just a message that you could also be drawn to pile number 1. And let's see what other abilities emerge as we look through all the cards. So let's flip everything over and then we'll go through the other ones I've pulled here and then we'll see what comes out. So we have Guardian Angel, we have Sedna. Sedna is a really interesting figure, okay, of cleansing, but her story is also a painful story of betrayal and dealing with trickster energy and betrayal by her own father, and her kind of having to go, maybe what I'll do, I'll briefly say her story. So how briefly can I say it? So essentially Sedna belonged to a tribe, I believe she is an Inuit goddess, okay, of the sea life of animals, and she basically was given away like as a bride. She was married to and taken to an island of a trickster god, and when her father, he hadn't, because it was a trickster god, he had promised he'd be able to feed her, take care of her and everything, so her family married her to him, but it was all lies really, and he was a trickster kind of birdman god. And eventually her father came to check on her, and he tried to bring her back with him in a boat. But the trickster god basically caused a huge storm in the sea, in the Arctic Sea. And if he did not return her, then he was going to drown them. So her own father not just threw her over the boat, but when he threw her over the boat and she was hanging on, he cut her fingers off so that she would not basically be on the boat anymore. That way the trickster god would let him go. So he sacrificed his own daughter. And so her story is one of betrayal, but also one of power. So when I see Sedna, I feel like you are definitely someone who can go deep. You are somebody, I am feeling some Scorpio energy. We'll see what other energies emerge. I also feel some Cancer, water sign energy. But you are somebody who I think has the ability to do shadow work, okay? You could maybe take people through shadow work, but there is also very strong creative energy here, protector energy. Sedna is a goddess. She becomes a goddess of the ocean, of the sea. And she's all about listening to the cues of nature, right? And providing abundance for her people. And so for Sedna with cleansing, she had to work through that betrayal in order to transform and become this new goddess of the sea. And she is responsible for creating all the sea life. It's said sometimes that shamans, for food or to keep the balance, basically, might need to travel to her and comb her hair to release the sea animals. In other versions of the myth, I'm pretty sure that her knuckles, which were cut off, even become the sea animals. So there's different versions of the myth. But yeah, this is a powerful energy. This is a powerful energy of transformation, protection. I think that you are somebody who has a very strong soft spot for people who are, you might see as powerless. And I think you're a protector. So like, for example, I think like a protector of children, a protector of those who do not have voice, because there's this strong energy of someone who transformed from being a victim into a goddess. Okay, that's kind of a summary. I'm sorry if it's not the best summary, but that's the energy. Ooh, and we have Rhea. Okay, so we have protection energy coming through here. So I think for sure you are very spiritually protected, but you are also a protector of other people, okay? Rhea is, of course, the Titan who was married to Cronus, is the mother of Zeus, and she saved her children because he was afraid, right, that his children would eventually overthrow him, and so he would eat his children after they were born. Rhea is the like rules over the earth and love and motherly instinct and that sort of thing, protection. And why protection is associated with her here is because she protected Zeus. She fed Cronus a rock and then kind of spirited away her son Zeus to a cave where he was raised, and then when he grew up, he overthrew his father. And so that is kind of motherly protection here, okay? Look at these blues, really strong blue energy. Ooh, we have lover as well. That's also very associated, I would say, with Rhea. Okay. Put it there for now. Oops, sorry, I bopped the camera. Okay, we have, ooh, autumn. We actually don't like this. Here. Release the, I hope you can still see this. Autumn, release the old and rest. Warrior, be fearless and strong. Datura, insight and change. Yeah. Juno, yeah. And seeker, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever you are. All right. So I'll go through kind of each card and their relationship with each other and with the spiritual gifts I'm seeing in a second. But first, I just want to flip over all of these ones I drew from the bag, okay? So some of the spiritual gifts, this could be confirmation for you that this pile is for you, that I drew from the bag that pulled at random, would be bilateral consciousness. So like what I mean by that is like holding awareness in multiple realms, or I'm gonna say even like astral traveling, okay? Prophetic art, visionary painting and drawing. Kind of put them up here. Oh my gosh. Weather working, communicating with storms, rain, and wind. So I really see that with Sedna coming out and the connection with storms, being able to find food, respecting the environment and nature. We've got autumn out here, respecting the seasons. Yeah, you might be somebody who has a strong connection to storms, wind, weather working, water, the wind and water working together. You might be able to sense a storm is coming. But more than that too, you might be able to, you might be able to kind of see, I don't want to say problems before they happen, but like you have a very strong sense about if something is going to work and what's coming. You have a strong sense for what's coming and predicting what's going to happen, I feel. So you could, of course, you can call that psychic, but this sense of what's coming, you have a very strong sense. And I think that's not just with the weather, but like collectively. So you can kind of tell the vibe of the collective of humanity very easily. Tarot reading. Sacred justice work. Again, there's that protection of the weak. Harmony weaving, bringing people together, okay? Maybe calming a storm. Palmistry could be big for you. Empathy amplification, so like a storm. So you could be very empathetic. Like I said, there's a lot of this water energy, this emotional energy. Clairaudience, clear hearing. I just heard a raindrop in my head, or like that sound of water falling into water. Love embodiment. So again, with this lover card, right? Trauma release guidance. Like I said, you know, that deep kind of shadow work that Sedna can represent, that strength of the warrior, that protection of those who are weaker. clairvoyance, clear seeing. I'm not surprised to see these kind of clairs come through. Ooh, let's see. Emotional alchemy. So again, empathy implication. There's a lot of empathy here. Healing through voice. So we had the clairaudience and voice. So you might be somebody, especially with this blue, that could be throat chakra energy, kind of, you could be somebody who is, I don't want to say therapeutic, but like you are able to communicate, like you have this spiritual ability to be able to transform how people feel through what you say. Okay. Visualization mastery. So that's kind of very similar to the, like I said, oh my gosh, the astral travel. Okay. So you might be able to access the astral plane, I feel. Okay. Let's go through it. So I think for sure you are somebody who, like, it takes fearlessness to be able to make a change, right? Or to reject the old and create new, like Rhea does, where she rejects the status quo of like allowing her husband to eat their children and she goes ahead and saves one of their children. So that takes a warrior spirit. It might be a quiet confidence. I don't feel that you're a very loud person, but I feel you are subtly very powerful. And you are able to read the emotions of a room. So I feel you're an empath. I feel that you are somebody who is very spiritually enlightened through like schooling and wisdom and learning. So you might be a teacher. So you might have the ability to deliver spiritual messages through speaking. You might be somebody who has like a ability to help people release trauma. So I'm thinking like you could even be like a psychiatrist, a psychologist, somebody who's like in self-help, things like this, or even just a friend who through your listening ear and your words, you're able to help people transform how they're feeling and like the deep things. You are a very deep person. You allow people to see themselves and to change and help guide them through transformations. You are very protected. I cannot say it enough. And you, I think, are also a protector of others, like we have with the sacred justice work. You are somebody who protects other people. You have a lot of insight. You have a lot of this water energy. So being able to move through motions. You have a lot of love, though, too, for people. And I think you are able to help people feel their emotions, and that is a spiritual gift. Okay, let's jump into it. Let's go a little bit more in depth. So I think with Rhea especially, I think you might also be like a generational healer, okay? Because what was normal in their family, which is very traumatic, of eating their children, she is somebody who changed that dynamic in their family dynamic, right? So I feel that could apply to you. You could be somebody who has like generational patterns and you are the pattern breaker. And it comes from a place of love for her. It's love for her children and being unable to see that them destroyed before they even get a chance to live. And so there is this strong, I feel like, love you do have like a hope for humanity. You do believe in people. You see how dark people can be, but you also want to help people move through that. Maybe you see darkness as necessary. Like that, I think you kind of balance, like you see dark and light as both necessary. Whereas some people would just want to be in the light. You're willing to go and to feel your feelings really and to go into the darkness a little bit because so much profound and powerful change can happen and you can help other people do it. Through visualizations, I think the prophetic art too with this water energy, I do feel that you are somebody who has artistic ability and that could be a spiritual gift with painting, drawing, visualizing. Maybe you can like lead meditations or things like this. You can really create sacred spaces. I think, so again, there's this fertile kind of creativity. Same with Rhea here, right? There's a fertility, there's creation of gods. She's a mother. She's earth energy. And then Sedna too, this water energy, this fertile energy, creating all the sea creatures who give sustenance to people. Okay. I would say, like I said, this kind of silent authority, is the best way I can put it. Yeah, like I said, it's like a subtle power, like a silent authority. Um, Rhea had to be very clever about how she enacted her plan, okay, to save Zeus. Um, but she was able to achieve it and do it. And I feel like it's like that. Like you work with the emotions of people. Maybe also through what you say, maybe you don't speak very directly, but you speak in a way that gets people to change how they feel. Like you speak in subtleties. Um, that's something I feel for you, okay? Maybe, like I said, guardian of the vulnerable, you have a lot of love for people. I think especially the innocent. I think you probably have a lot of love for animals too. Okay, with Sedna here. You might really like sea life. So if your favorite animals are like whales or otters or anything that swims in the water, um, I think especially mammals that swim in the water. Um, I think this could be very strong confirmation. This could be your pile. Um, you know there's a better way. That's true. I think too, maybe like nurturing. I feel nurturing is maybe the best way to say it. Like you have a nurturing ability, just like the sea is very nurturing, the earth is very nurturing. I feel that you are nurturing and protective, like the mother's love, the warrior here. You can stand up for somebody else. And you're also always seeking truth. That's also true as well. Um, how would I word it? So Ria was also rebellious. So I also feel like you, just like with this trauma release work, or just like with calling it shadow work, I feel like you have this like rebellious energy, but not in a way where you just want chaos. It's not like that. It's where you want to subvert what's normal to show people that there is a better way, like Ria did. Like it's not very good to destroy your own children, so she found a different way. Okay. So this kind of sacred rebellion almost, you can show people a better way. I feel like that's a spiritual ability that you have. You can see better ways. You can break patterns and organizations or things like this. You have a very good sense about what needs to go to rest, what needs to die, essentially, as well. You command a lot of respect, I will say. You have like an authoritative presence, but also a nurturing presence, okay? It's like you're a sustainer and a protector, really. And it comes from this motherly, this love, this strong love that you have. I think that you have appreciation for other people and for the world you live in too. So, okay, what else I would say okay, I think that's it for Ria. So let's move on to Sedna. So with Sedna and the energy with the cards and everything I'm seeing, definitely like I said, being a shadow healer, like being able to dive deep with people, alchemizing trauma. We have all that here, right? The empathy, amplification, harmony weaving. So much here, healing through voice, through talking about things, emotional alchemy, clearly seeing and feeling how what's bothering people. I'm actually seeing visions, right? So like vision questing too. This is very strong for you, being able to be in two places at once. I think you can help transmute people's emotions, okay? You can really help heal them, help them transform, especially negative emotions. I think, yeah, you can nourish other people very spiritually. People might even just really want to talk to you. They can sense that you are somebody who can handle things. So people definitely might talk to you about very deep matters, about their problems. You might take on the mother role in a group or like even therapist. You nourish people just through your presence, okay? And through what you say. I think you have this like ability to surrender to emotions, right? Like just like with Sedna here, like the ocean is such a powerful force that sometimes all you can do is surrender and go deep. So you really do help people go deep and release their trauma. You might even be able to do things like past life regression therapy, really take people through the past, through darkness, through experiences, and help provide incredible healing. I think that you have a strong communion with like nature and animals, especially with Sedna being a goddess of the sea life. So I feel like you could really communicate well with animals and want to protect them. And I think empathy, right? With the ocean, I really think of empathy and being able to kind of deal with all the vast feelings of life. You're somebody who is willing to go deep, okay? Helping people reclaim their power. You are strong. You are a very strong, loving, nurturing person. I'm feeling Cancer energy, like I said. Cancer energy, Scorpio energy. Some Leo energy too, I'm feeling, to be honest. Okay. And then with Juno, I would say... Oh, I also want to say, I feel like you're a survivor. Like, you have an indomitable ability to survive. And I don't want to say dominate, but you know how to survive, even through isolation as well. Like, you survived the winter. You were very protected. So I think also you have a spiritual ability of being able to know how to survive any event that comes your way. Like even in a practical sense, like you're the kind of person you can sense when layoffs are coming, because of you can really read those subtle things that are happening in how things are happening in a company, for example. So even in a very practical way, you're always doing this kind of work. So Juno, she is really close with this like lover, I would say, okay? So this is the goddess of like divine union, feminine power, commitment, devotion too. So you're a very devoted friend. You're a very loyal friend and a loyal person. Anybody is very lucky to have you in their life. You can really also transform how people see other people through how you are in the world. So the fact that you are so loyal changes and expands people's belief in the good of people, I would say. So I think you have, like, you're somebody who can, like, help see. I think you could be, like, a matchmaker, to be honest. I think you might have a spiritual ability to see who is good for each other. And also, I think you can strengthen bonds between people, like friendships, and kind of feed really positive energy and dynamics. You might be a very good, like, counselor. So being able to help people reunite or overcome any problems they're having. That could be so true, like relational kind of intuition and seeing how relationships people have with each other, how that's working. I think you are somebody who, it's almost like you have vow magic. I don't know why that just popped in. Like, I just heard vow magic. But, like, you are very good at helping people honor their vows almost, or, like, see how words and, like, can be binding and kind of maybe even binding magic. It's very interesting. Oh, no, my light came off. Okay. Let us continue without the light. You'll just see my candle more now, I think. I really feel there's this power of justice, okay? There is a justice here, so I am seeing Libra energy. You need things to be balanced. Otherwise, you can create, like, storms. So you might have, like, a Libra moon or something, like, along those lines, like a strong Libra placement, where it's really hard for you to see injustice. You really don't like it at all. I think you're like a harmonizer, kind of, between masculine and feminine energies, okay? I think you help opposing sides make harmony with each other and come to, like, better ground. And that is a spiritual ability. I think you can help people kind of recover their self-worth. So I think you're very good if people have made a mistake, you help people forgive themselves and see that mistakes are not like the be-all end-all. Mistakes are actually empowering and learning opportunities. So you have this teaching energy too. And then with Seeker, this is a very interesting one. I feel that you are this ability to see truth, to reach for truth, is a spiritual ability. It is something you are supposed to be doing. In conversations, like you are always able to uncover the deep motivations, the truth, and bring people together. So you use that gift in a lot of ways. Whew, okay, that is so many things that just came through. I think that's everything, pile number 2. So you can see, I think you have a very strong connection with angels and with your guides. You're very much a protector. There's this balancing energy, this energy of protecting people. It's a very beautiful energy. Very subtle. Very, very interested in subtlety. Okay. All right, pile number 2, thank you so much for sticking with me for that. I know it's a long one today, but please in the comments let me know if it resonated for you, if any part of it resonated, and let me know if there's any topics you want me to do next. I'm definitely open to hearing anything else you'd be interested in, like for a new video, a new pick a card. Yeah, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you, pile number 2. Hi, pile number 3. Welcome to your welcome to my channel and to your tarot reading. But actually, it's more of an oracle reading today. The topic is, what are your spiritual gifts? So, this is your pile if you picked Morgan or the Shaman card, or if you were very drawn to this Garnet, okay? I can tell you I'm already feeling very strong Scorpio energy, okay? So if you have Pluto strong in your chart, like first house, if you are a Scorpio, like if you have Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, if Scorpio North Node, if you have Pluto, like first house, 10th house, something like this, I think this is, or in 8th house, so like Scorpio 8th house, North Node in the 8th house, very strong 8th house energy, very strong Pluto, very strong Scorpio energy, okay? That is confirmation. So what I've done today is I've pre-shuffled a lot of oracle cards to get some insight into what your spiritual gifts are. And also what I did is I wrote down on a spreadsheet like 150 of the spiritual gifts I could think of, and I've pulled for you 15. So we'll go through them together. And I just pulled them randomly before. So let's uncover everything. So we have Morgan. This is a very interesting figure. This is a Celtic goddess, really, of like, I want to say fate, war, sovereignty, like, I don't want to say like battles, but like she is a goddess that would appear on the battlefield. She's shapeshifter. Sometimes she's also like a goddess that's considered to be like a triplet goddess. So there's like three elements, 3 connections. She's a very complex goddess, okay? She's kind of liminal too, like that space between life and death. Like I said, on the battlefield, this is where Morgan is. You can see the arrows there, okay? She's really represented by crows very commonly, and ravens. I feel like the message for her is very much tied to like conflict, transformation, seeing the true shape of things. Like I said, she's a shapeshifter and sometimes appears as a crow or a different animal. We have shaman for you. And again, we've got a lot of air energy here. Like, look at these feathers. We've got an owl of wisdom. So if you feel like one of your spirit guides is owls, if it is crows, ravens, or anything winged, I would say, this is definitely confirmation this pile's for you. Ooh, we have Hades. I actually really like that these two have come out together. So that is strong confirmation. And shaman. So like a shaman can journey either spiritually, physically, through a liminal space, right, to do spiritual work. Hades is the ruler of the underworld, and Morgan, a goddess of like life and death and the balance, fate, war. I think this is very clear. You are, I want to say you're a medium. You're definitely like a prophet. You're like a prophet, you're a medium. You have very strong spiritual abilities, very strong transformational abilities. There's so much I'm already seeing here. Okay, let's finish uncovering everything. And then, yeah, monk, you were exceptionally spiritually gifted. Ooh, child with divine. So innocence, purity, and redemption suggests a special connection with the divine. So you are very connected with divine energy, okay? Broken arrow, embracing the energy of peace. So with a broken arrow, you know, you can see there's arrows here too. So this kind of crossroads energy, this war energy. You're very good about knowing when a battle should be over. I'm going to say about also judging people. You have very good judgment. And that is a spiritual gift, to be able to see very clearly, very truly people's intentions, to know when something should end or continue. With the energy of peace, I feel like you know how to help people through endings. You know how to help people through endings, okay? Endings can be very painful, and you can help people move from one phase of life to another, or even from like one world to another. So again, there's a lot of liminality here. Liminality being the space between two things, is liminal space. And you might also have some messages in some of the other piles I'm going to say, okay? So if you were drawn to one or two, I think there's a lot of overlap and connection in this particular reading, especially with the child divine coming out. There is a chance you might be interested in pile 1, 2, 1 or 2 actually. She-wolf. So we have a transformation, unleash the wild within. Again, Morgan's a shapeshifter, and shamans, I also will say, it can kind of shapeshift too. So there's this shapeshifting energy. I don't want to say that you necessarily are a shapeshifter, but you have this shape-shifting energy, okay? Ooh. Sagittarius, I like, ooh. So definitely higher knowledge with the monk coming through, okay? And Sagittarius, you have extreme desire to learn, to expand beyond the horizons of what is already known, to push for more information. Sagittarius is all about higher learning, learning of the collective, whereas Gemini, right, is more about, it's the opposite sign of Gemini, which is more about gathering facts or ideas, or even sometimes you could say gossiping or things like that, right? Connection one-on-one. Sagittarius is like a professor who can sway and engage a whole classroom, or like deal with the collective, more people at once. That's very interesting. We also have adaptability and gentleness. So I think you definitely have a gentle approach in helping people adapt to new circumstances. I think you can help people through endings. All right, let's flip over before I'll dive more deep, but let's flip over everything else too here. So I have pulled for you spirit ally work, guides, ancestors, archetypes. Ooh. Yeah, so with Hades, I'm definitely going to say I think mediumship for sure. Let's see if that comes out. Time walking. This is very much shamanic, okay? So you could be able to visit past or the future energetically, or even perhaps in the spiritual realm, okay? So in the astral realm. Stone listening, working with mineral consciousness. I love that. That's a very interesting one that came out. It really reminds me of the garnet. I think kind of feel some Aquarius energy here too. Sacred poetry writing. Mediumship. I'm happy to see this one came out. Yeah, I really feel that you do have the ability of mediumship, okay? Especially with Hades coming out, and we've got the battlefield. I strongly feel that you are somebody that can make connections with people who have passed on, and I would also say animals, like people's pets too, but like communication, I would say with spirits, like with passed on human souls, and I would say also animal souls. Okay, we have dream weaving. Yeah, this very shamanic energy, okay? The spirit ally work. I don't even want to put some time walking. What else do we have? Death midwifery. I was going to say midwife if it didn't come up, but actually I was going to say death doula, or even birth doula, right? So helping souls deal with endings. When you're born, you're of course leaving the womb and you come into a different world. And when you die, we've got the soul crossing support too. So helping people through that time. Sound channeling. Toning, overtone singing. Very interesting. Let's see some more. Intuitive coaching. Yeah, for sure. Chi energy mastery. Okay. So like how energy moves through the bodies and different meridians in the body. So from a different cultural knowledge. Connection to collective consciousness. Yeah, like I was saying with Sagittarius. And we've got the divine child monk here. You are definitely very spiritually attuned, very spiritually tuned in. I think you could be clairvoyant, clairaudient. I think you can hear and see spirits, maybe even shadow people or figures or anything like that. Vision holding for communities. So community healing. Healing through movement and yoga. Okay, interesting. Definitely healing through movement with the she-wolf, unleash the wild within. Okay, there's so much coming through. I've already said a lot of spiritual gifts, but let's kind of zone in a little bit more. So I feel with Morgan, I definitely feel like you have like strategic intuition. This is a goddess of battles and wars. So I feel like you know how to help people through things. You know how to plan. I think you might even have an intuitive sense about like which side to pick or like what's going to happen. So I think you do have clear knowing, clear cognizance, okay? I think you probably have the most of the clairs of the 3 piles, okay? I think you have it all. I think you have clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairsentience. You are very connected in both the waking world and the dream world to other realms. And you're not afraid of the dark. Put it that way. You know that greatest power for transformation happens when you can unveil things in the dark. Like transformation, this is giving werewolf kind of vibes, okay? This transformation happens in the dark. Even look at these dark colors. It's very Scorpio, very Scorpionic, okay? So I'm seeing some energies, right? It would be Scorpio. I'm seeing Sagittarius energy. I kind of also feel Virgo energy, especially with the divine child and like a monk. Virgo being the kind of virgin or the maiden as the kind of signifier of this sign. I feel like with monks and nuns, they take an oath usually to abstain from worldly pleasures. So this is very interesting energy. It's kind of a living in multiple planes at once. This is so interesting. This is powerful energy, okay? So I think you might even have, if we're talking about spiritual gifts I'm seeing, I think you can communicate with animals. I think you can commune with animals. I think you can commune with spirits. And it might even have been something that's scary for you at first, but it is a spiritual ability. You can work with, I would say, guides, ancestor kind of connections too. Especially you can see here, right? Guides, ancestors, archetypes. And I would say spirits. I think maybe you are like have prophetic wisdom. Like you can see what's coming. You can visit the future and help people change it if they need to. So you give very excellent advice about how people could change their path, okay? I think maybe even like messenger, I don't want to say like messenger magic, but I feel like you are very good about reading signs from nature. When I think of birds, you can often think of like a messenger pigeon or like messages. So I think that you are somebody who delivers spiritual messages through what you say to people, through working with people. You are very tuned in and you're always delivering messages. I feel like you're kind of the strong, kind of silent type. I don't think you are a super, super chatty person most of the time. I think you're doing a lot of inner work all the time, and really tuning into the collective. I think, animal allies. I think you might be very good about, you might be very much able to understand animal wisdom and help other people understand animal wisdom, like through a YouTube channel or anything like that, or a book, or there's just a very strong connection with animals here. If you, growing up, read a lot of books where there's like the main characters who have connections with animals, like kinship with animals, or familiars, this could definitely be confirmation this is your pile. If you've always kind of thought, what are my spirit animals? What would I have as my familiar? A lot of wisdom comes to you through animal knowledge and wisdom, kind of wild wisdom, you could say. I feel that it's like thresholds, okay? Like with Hades going from into the underworld, I feel like you have strong judgment, I'll put it that way. And I think also you're not afraid to like call people out for the path that they're on. You're not afraid to speak the truth. And some people might even say that you could even be like, I don't want to say cold, but like, or cruel, but like you do have you have a very strong energy. You have a very strong opinions, very good judgment, but it might not always be that easy for other people. But the way you deliver, like I said, you're not cold or cruel. Like you do deliver it in a gentle way, but even so, it can still be hard for people to hear, and hard for people to confront their own darkness. But you are like spiritually called to help people see, like break their own illusions and to see the truth of who they are and to change, and to transform and to shapeshift. You are somebody who can easily abstain, I feel like, from things like, you might even be somebody who's like sober, like you don't drink alcohol or things like this, especially with the monk and nun, or yeah, like you're not necessarily overindulgent. It's very interesting energy here. So you have a lot of discipline. This is very interesting. So thresholds, I would say, I feel like you can read people's fears. Like you can read people like a book. You are so connected. You can connect with their spirit guides. You can connect with your spirit guides, very easily. And you can read them, like what their fear is. And through, like I said, you can go into basically the darkness, the underworld with them. And through exploring those fears, you can help them create change. But not even through conversation. It's just, this is what your energy does, okay? With this warrior energy, the she-wolf, I do feel I think too, there is a part of you that is also about protecting the vulnerable or the weak too. You might be interested in pile number 2, pile number 3. What else do I get from Morrigan? I think that's what I get from Morrigan. And now let's talk more about Hades. Like, what gifts do I really see with Hades? Well, I would say, like, underworld knowing. So, like I said, knowing people's fears. Oh, I think you can help people change their fate, too, I want to say. Like kind of weave a different fate. You can see the future and you can help people make different choices because you know that the future is always in flux. You know that you can, through maybe perceiving the past differently, you can change your future. And through making different choices in the present moment, you can make a different future for yourself. So it's like knowing things are not always set in stone. Oh yeah, I also wanted to say with the I was talking about animal wisdom. I think you are very connected with gemstones, and I think you have a lot of ability to use talismans, to use gemstones, to use earth elements for transforming people's emotions. So you are very intuitive in being able to use like gemstones, right? So to be able to heal people. So crystal healing, I think, comes very naturally to you, making altars or things like this. And I also think communicating with gods is quite easy for you compared to others. You are very spiritually tuned in. Okay. Back to Hades. I'm trying to go through, everything comes so fast, so I'm trying to go through some of the really prominent cards here that are delivering messages. So we did Morrigan, Hades. So mediumship, like I said, that ability to deal with the underworld, maybe helping people kind of cross over, could be something very interesting. So people, and this could be in a practical way, like if somebody like loses something suddenly, like you might be able to be like a grief counselor or help people deal with grief and see the role grief has in life, and help people. So there is kind of a therapist energy here, like working in morgues or like being very interested in the occult, I would say. Like you are very drawn to these things, these strong transformational energies. I think you're very good at like finding talents in unlikely places and things like that, like helping people discover the riches within themselves. And what I mean is, like, through this transformational work, you can help people find their hidden gifts and talents very easily. You transform people just with your energy. You might help them spark in them interests or something that totally changes their life and their future. I would say, like I said, like dealing with grief, like grief alchemy almost. So you might even help people turn grief into art, or into something else, or just help people come to terms with grief. And not even through being like a trained counselor, it's just maybe even through being like, you do this for people naturally who are friends in your life or clients or things like this. You just have this energy that helps people feel more grounded and more comfortable with the unknown and transformations. I think you're able to like read the Akashic records and help people see their what karmic cycles they might be trapped in, and help them break it and find more peace. So you probably can see very easily patterns in people's lives that they've been following, and give them like the medicine to break it, whatever they need to do to break those karmic patterns. And I think you can help them connect with perhaps like who they were in a past life, like I said, past life regression or things like this. You might even be able to do hypnosis as a spiritual gift to I think that you can help people like let go of negative emotions and solemnness to navigate those things. I think you can help people see like cords. I think you can help people cut cords, okay? I think you can help people sever ties that are holding them back as well. So kind of like the red string of fate, or like the threads, the cords that do that. I think you can do cord cutting for people, or even for yourself very easily. It's you're able to let go and cut off very well to learn your lessons and move forward with a lot of wisdom. You have you have like a direct line, okay, to the divine. And you are always taking in wisdom from many, many planes, many of your senses. Like I said, I think you have all of the clairs. I think too, it's like you're still. It's like this stillness, like the calm before the storm, or the stillness after, like before a battle takes place, like with Morrigan and Hades, like the stillness and like the nerves before perhaps being judged, or spending time in like the fields after your soul's been judged, like the Elysian fields and so on and so forth. It's like you're able to go deep and be still with people, like be still with them through grief. I think sometimes you don't even have to say anything at all, but people find your presence very healing. Or you could even think about how like monks or nuns spend a lot of time praying, or being attuned, getting really attuned in and connecting with the divine. You help people do that. You help people connect with the divine through prayer, I would say, and through maybe even rituals, and maybe even just your presence, okay, and the stillness you hold. I think you definitely have that very intense kind of Scorpio stare. I would not be surprised, like I said, if you're a Scorpio, if you have strong Pluto as well. I think you can also do some shadow work. So again, pile number 2 might have called to you too. If so, this is your confirmation to check out that pile as well. I think that you are very good about helping people break cycles and start new cycles, okay? So you don't just help them end, but you help them begin again. You can, like I said, you can see cycles, generational cycles. You're kind of like a steward of cycles. Like you help bring about change and transformation in people's lives. You might be the first person to suggest to someone, for example, that you might be able to see when a relationship is no longer serving someone's highest good and counsel them well about what they should do, or see the patterns that are not doing like anybody any good and help them change those patterns. So these kind of things are gifts that you certainly have. With sound channeling, like I said, like you could even be somebody who, through chanting, or there's something about chanting, maybe like group chanting, you have a spiritual ability for that. Maybe you listen to things like Gregorian chants or something like that to be very connected. That's interesting. It just came through, just kind of heard that in my head. Okay. So that's Hades. And I think we've touched on too with Monk and the Divine Child. I think we've touched on almost everything that I'm really strongly feeling. Pile number 3, you have your energy is strong. And very transformational. I think you help people. Something else you do is you help people find their passion and like reconnect with the desire to be alive, okay? And to live well and to really live. You help people see how stupid, I'm gonna say. And again, this is how it's coming through. Like I said, it's almost like harsh, but still gentle. But like, these aren't necessarily my words, but it's what I'm hearing in my head. Like, how stupid some of the attachments we have in this lifetime are. Because living is a spiritual experience, and you help people really connect with that, okay? So you're not a shallow person. You are definitely someone who would be against influencer culture. You are definitely somebody who all of these things that we think are important, you help people see that they're not important, okay? What I mean is like designer, having like luxury cars or designer handbags or these things that, yeah, they might matter to some people, but in terms of our spiritual development, they don't matter. And you help people let go of, I think, like earthly attachments, things that are holding their spiritual development back. And that's a huge transformational calling you have. Or this calling you have is about helping people transform their lives. And it's not even through, you don't preach. I don't feel that you preach. It's through the example you set and through all of the work that you're doing. And again, you have this very strong shamanic, gifts. You have these very strong shamanic gifts. So I think also like lucid dreaming, astral traveling, meditation, and connecting with other beings. It's very, these are things you're able to do that not everybody is able to do. Okay. Whew, I think that's a lot. I think that's everything that's coming through. I think we covered it. Pile number 3. If you enjoyed that reading, if it was resonating at all, I'd love for you to leave a comment down below and tell me what resonated. And also, if you have any suggestions for other videos you might want to do, me to do, please, you can drop them below in the comments too. I really love to hear from you. Thank you, pile number 3. I hope you have a really beautiful day. Thank you for staying with me through this reading. All right, bye-bye.